Good morning, everybody. John here with FNP Wargamers, FNP Morning Show. Hopefully, you guys all had a great weekend. I wouldn't say I had a great weekend, but I did not have a bad weekend. I did get a lot accomplished. I got a bunch of World Eaters done, a chitin, 5 Berserkers, and at least one character. I'm going to finish up another character tonight on Havoc Maker Studio, and here shortly I'll be done with 4 more Zangors, so the Zangors will be done, and a Zangor, I'm on my first Zangor Shaman, so he is, or not Shaman, but a Zangor Enlightened. The discs are taking a little, oh, goodness gracious. Oh, hey, thank you, Nick Zhang Artwork. I really appreciate that, man. It's freaking awesome. Those of you who don't know, I just got a follow here. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Oh, I know who you are. Thank you very much. At any rate, as I delve more into where was I going with this? Anyways, also on top of all getting all stuff done for this Thousand Suns Army I've been working on for way too long. I've also knocked out about 7,000 words for the RPG I'm created. I am within 10,000-ish words of being completed. So this week, the manuscript will be done. Oh, I can't wait. Then all we need to do is finish the next round of beta testing, and then editing, and we have to also start shopping around for somebody to do artwork, because I've got a lot of artwork that needs to be included to get that page count up. As of right now, if I follow kind of the standard practice for including artwork into an RPG, this book will be around 250 to 300 pages, which means that I'm around 50 pages worth of art in total when you break down the different sizes. There's a big matrix to try to figure out, what a full page art is versus half page or little bits. So super excited about that. But I'm also stressed because I'm not sure the art style I want to go with. I'm caught between 2 different art styles right now. At any rate, you don't want to hear about that. You guys want to hear about other gaming news, even though that is gaming news. Let's, one of these days we're not going to talk about Games Workshop to start off with, but today we're going to continue. So if you still have not done it yet, the Battle Forge, the Warm 40,000 app, is still available for free for 1 month. It's currently, the 40K app is currently in a beta stage, and pretty much it's been in a beta stage since it released, but they won't call it that. Fine. But now they have the Battle Forge where you can actually build your army lists. I still have not tried it yet. I've had other projects that have taken priority. I'm still 100% determined to at least try this app out. That way, I can provide a little bit more accurate feedback, giving you my likes and dislikes from an actual place of knowledge of actually having used it instead of taking secondhand information. So we'll be taking a look at that hopefully this week. Cause I'm so tired of painting right now. I'm going to need to take a break sometime this week. So we're going to delve into that. Let me refresh this page real quick since this is live and we always keep up with the live work. Okay. So first let's go with a pretty cool announcement. At least I think it's cool. Is the coming up on the 26th of December. So that's Saturday, not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday, the day after Christmas, a new threat to the Imperium will raise its head. And this is, I'll tell you right now, I would say that this is the first of the upcoming Orks in the future, but we've already got the upcoming Orks already. If you remember that they came out with all those new type of Ork vehicles like the Dragsta and the Snaz Wagon. I'm not kidding, those are the names. The Squid Billy or Buggy or something like that. Those 4 vehicles and the new Gazgul, like the one that I've got right here that I've been painting. He is a big, beefy boy. Those were the new wave of Orks that are coming. When are they coming? Probably this edition. We've had so much strong indication that they're coming this edition that it's foregone foregone conclusion unless something happens where they're like, we've got to wait for another edition before we update the Ork, especially those Ork Boy kits. They're so useful, so utilitarian, and people have been using them since 1994. So, or 96, 94, 96 time frame. At any rate, we do get a new glimpse of an actual infantry model. I'm not going to play the video. You guys can watch the funny video yourself. But here is, let me make sure you guys can see this properly. Awesome. His name is Gorzag Gitstampa and Nicket. It's his little sidekick buddy there, his little Gretchen. So some of you will be like, oh, that's an awesome model. Others of you, like myself, will remember he was a Games Day model. And I'll show you guys a side-by-side image if you're curious. So this is really, I think this is really freaking amazing. I mean, it's not just because they've taken an older model and reimagine it with as a new plastic kit and bring them into the 40K universe. But it's just a stunning looking model. I mean, I hope he's a leader type, or he might just be, just one of those showcase miniatures like, hey, he's just going to be an orc boy or a boss maybe, but nothing big and fancy. The reason why I say he could be a character model is because he has his foot propped up. And usually character models in Warhammer 40,000 and sometimes Age of Sigmar, they'll be either mounted or they're putting their foot up on a rock or a pile of skulls or ammo case. And that's how you know how important they are, because they've got the Captain Morgan stance going on there. It's a reoccurring thing. Not every model, but a lot of their models, a lot of the character models are doing that. It's like, I don't know, maybe they had polio or something, and no offense to people with polio, but anybody that's had polio, I remember my family had it when they were young, and so they have just a little bit of a one leg shorter than the other. Maybe that's what's going on here. I mean, it is an orc. Maybe they got the legs shot off and they didn't get all of it back, and they just sewed it back on, and he's using it just fine. Just like Gaskell lost his head, got it sewn back on, and he's good to go. Regardless, this model's going to be cool. Let me show you real quick here. Let me hide this window and give you a side-by-side. No, that's not the right button. This is the right button. There we go. There's a side-by-side for Gorzag, Gitstampa, and Nicket. So on the left, we're seeing the new plastic version of the model, updated, much larger size. He's plastic, and now he's got his own little sidekick. Probably count as a I really don't know what. You might just toss him in with the rest of your Gretchen. Regardless, updated weapon look, his orc combat blade, and his slugga pistol is matching essentially the same aesthetic that the original. That's the one on the right. That's the metal model that came from Games Day. I mean, everything about the models, I would say a 100% matchup, except a lot of the posing is a little different. There's obviously a size difference. There's lots of negative space, where back in the day doing a negative space was a little difficult, so you had to, that's why you always see the models a little bit more squat, the legs a little bit more together, or you see like their that little loincloth, not loincloth, but that little tabard that goes between their legs, usually connected to the model. This one obviously fills up because it's a lot bigger model, because that's an old 25 millimeter. This looks like probably a 32 millimeter base. It doesn't look 40, it does look 32 millimeter. And Nicket is probably on a 25, maybe that new 28 millimeter, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 25. Anyway, so he's much bigger, much broader, and of course, he's got a lot more space in between the legs. Cloth looks great. Man, I'm excited about the model, because I know that a good friend of mine who is a massive orc fan and player is going to get the model, and I will be painting him gladly. All right, so let's move on from Games Workshop. That's it right now for Games Workshop. We do have some stuff that are up for pre-orders. If you have not already seen, and we've already talked about, so I'm not going to go over too much, but the Van Saar, upgrades have come out for House of Artifice, for Necromunda, and the Blood Bowl, new Blood Bowl dice, like they needed it. Some new Blood Bowl cards, which makes sense since we're on our second edition, and new pitch, which I'm not sure they needed it, but hey, they got to make money somehow. Anyways, that has for the new Blood Bowl second season edition, whatever their weird thing they're calling it, for the Dwarves, and the Skaven has rolled out as well. And I've already talked about that way too much more than I wanted to. Before I get back to Warhammer 40,000, I wanted to go ahead and come back around, talk about probably the best competitive game out there. It's Marvel Crisis Protocol from Atomic Mass Games. I've talked about this repeatedly for the past year almost, and true to form, it just keeps getting better. So they put out 2 new game modes. So you have your regular game mode, which is very, like I said, this is easily probably the best, most balanced competitive game out there, and it doesn't require $800, $900 to get involved like other games like Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar. But it could if you keep buying everything. But you can pick and choose whatever you want. You don't have to worry about codexes. Everything comes with the characters. But I'm not going to continue on with that. So they've got a couple new game modes. So besides regular play, which is the standard competitive gameplay that does have a narrative option, there's also the Ultimate Encounters, where it's a multiplayer, 2 players versus 1. And now we have the Battle Realm. And the Battle Realm is a different way of playing. So obviously, both of you bring basically 15 characters to the game, and you go through a process of recruiting a team of 8. And whenever it's your turn, you get to recruit somebody, then you can start dismissing people as you go. By the time that you're done with that whole, you can recruit or get rid of a character. You both have an 8-man roster, and also you have, you do the same thing with what scenario you're going to be doing. You have a bunch of scenario cards, and you're going to be picking and choosing as you go. So it's a cool way to do a competitive game. That way you can pick and basically have some choice in who you're going to be facing. But on the flip side, your opponent has some say in that as well. So it looks like it's going to be a fun game. The other version is the collector version, and this is basically doing a draft. Now, if you're not familiar with draft in tabletop games such as Magic the Gathering or like HeroClix, basically you'd have a draft pack, and you would basically pick out a card or a miniature, pass the pack. You just keep doing it until all the packs are gone. That's not very conceivable in a game where you're building the models and you're painting them, because I'm sure as hell not going to give up my miniatures. Let somebody be able to go, well, John chose that one, I really want that one, this one's now mine, that sort of thing. So they've got basically these draft packs, and they're centered around different groups, and you can actually, they give you an options of 7 different groups here, but they also say you and your opponent or opponents can create your own packs as well. You just always have to have at least a leader card, and if you're going to have that leader card in there, that means you have to have at least 51% or more of that group match that leadership. So you'll see things like Pack 1, Captain America is leader of the Avengers. He's got Black Widow, Wasp, and Captain Marvel. So there's 4 out of 7 characters. You always have 7. Excuse me. So you get your 7 characters, and at least 4 of them have to be of that team, of whoever the team leadership is. You'll see you'll see Punisher pop up. Maybe even, I don't see him right away, but see, you always have Punisher, and you have, oh gosh darn it, the Winter Soldier. They're basically mercenaries. They can join any team and be part of that team. At any rate, so you pick your packs. They have the whole draft pool, pair up players, everything if you want to have a very special way to play a tournament. So it's just another way to do a tournament that really can test your skills versus, well, I'm always bringing this beatnik team or this combination of a team that's my favorite. It really kind of changes up the way you play and the way you think. Something I highly suggest if you've always been bringing the same. Usually you bring a roster of 10 characters, and from that you pick enough characters for that scenario. The scenario might only allow you to be able to get up to, say, 4 or 5 characters. So that's why you have that roster of 10. So this could force you into seeing how to play the game from a different angle. And that's what I strongly suggest you at least give this a try once, because it can improve your game. Just like playing a different game outside of your favorite. Let's say you guys are a Warhammer 40,000 player and you absolutely love Warhammer 40,000. No other game matters, which is fine. I highly recommend that you try a different game. Even if it's just even if you don't buy into it and you go to your friend's house and say, hey man, let's go and get a couple Marvel Crisis Protocol games or a couple Star Wars Legion, and you see how those games play. And it's not necessarily to get you involved into playing that game, but to broaden your view of tactics and how you play a tabletop miniature game. So when you come back to your favorite game, you have a new perspective, and you might be able to see something that you can do differently to improve your game and or counter your opponents. I strongly recommend it. All right, let me see. Somebody just joined. Brickside has followed. Thank you, Brickside. I really appreciate that, man. We got 2 follows today. Zhang Artwork and Brickside. Man, I really do appreciate it, you guys. That's really freaking awesome. I am actually working on emotes for the channel because we have not been doing emotes, but I want to get them up and running. Once I can get some emotes created, I have to run them through the powers that be to make sure, hey, can we use these? And as long as they're cool with it, we'll get them up here on the channel. All right, so enough about the 2 different new game modes. I want to talk also about House Atreides and Dune, everything coming from the Dune novel, if you're familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, there was a movie, 1980, I was 13, 88, 89, that came out, and absolutely loved the movie. It's been remastered at least once with additional cutscenes. There's been 2 Sci-Fi Channel limited series. I don't remember. I think one was just actually Dune, the limited series, which didn't get too many great reviews. Then there was another one with the children of Dune, so it was the continuation of the storyline. And I believe James McAvoy, the guy that's now playing Charles Xavier in the X-Men movies, he was Paul's son, I think. I'm very positive that was him. That I can see the facial things, everything like that. Anyways, that was way better. Actually, I think I still have that on DVD. I might have to crack that out because next August or October, the new Dune movie, and if you have not seen the previews for this, is going to be coming out, and it has the potential for a major franchise. So be watching for that. I would highly recommend you guys go ahead and check out the preview or the trailer for it. I think you'll be just blown away. Take a look at who's in it. I mean, I'll tell you what, the cast that is in it, it sold me. And then finally seeing the trailer got me excited. So what does all this have to do with gaming? Well, my good friends over at Modifius over in the UK have come together and created Dune Adventures in Imperium RPG. Now, I participated in the first round. I missed the second round of playtesting this game, but the first round, I loved it. It's definitely different from your normal hack and slash style. If you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons or Infinity RPG, Cyberpunk, and whatnot, they really change up a lot of the normal rules for, say, combat or what they call confrontations and gear and everything like that. The game is centered around not necessarily, hey, this guy's got the higher dexterity or he's physically stronger. It's more centered around ideals and beliefs and knowledge. Now, those are still attributes, but when you combine, when you come up to a scene where let's say you're in confrontation with somebody, your beliefs and your skills might be to resolve, let's say, a fight, might be different from what this guy over here, his ideals and beliefs. His will might be different than yours, that sort of thing, plus his skills to counter. And there's a lot of role-playing involved, and role-playing with, as in the dice. I think it's actually probably one of the better written RPGs out there, and it's really breaking away from that normal crunchy hack and slash monotonous boring. It really does get boring going, okay, well, I get +5 to hit, or if you're playing oh goodness, what's that game, Pathfinder, I'm +32 to hit and +27 damage and all this other silly stuff. Just a game of escalation. This really flips the script and turns everything on its head. I think it's a fantastic game, and it's even better because not only can you play one of the great houses, but they also have it set up to where you can build your own house. So you could be a great house, you could be one of the minor houses that are under one of the great houses. If you're familiar with Dune, basically you can just call them factions. I think that is a great thing because now it just really draws your players in. And there's there's challenges for the more you improve your house's standing. So just like you would expect if you've read the books or watched the movies or anything, it's like, oh, they're getting a little powerful. Well, now they're getting more enemies, or new threats are coming after them, trying to counter their rise to power. And I think that it's a really awesome mechanic that they've involved there. I'm really excited to see what the final product is like, because I only have a slimmed down version of the product, and I still can't talk about it because I am under that NDA, so I can't show you any of that stuff, which sucks. But as soon as this game drops, I'll have a copy, and we're definitely going to be covering it. So I just say give it a look-see when it does come out. You can head over to modifius.net if you are a fan of Dune and take a look at it. They're going to have all sorts of amazing things coming out. The dice sets that does use primarily D20s, and that's how you resolve everything. Usually Modifius uses a single D20 or a 2D20 system. They're really known for their 2D20 system for a lot of their games, and it's a really cool system. It's about getting the number of successes versus failures. Everything else that's coming out, let's see here, we got player bundles, limited edition player bundles, game master bundles. You guys are going to dig this. I think you're really going to dig this. If you're a fan of Dune, I would at the very least pick up the core rulebook. And here's something else. If you are going to pick up the core rulebook, and this is really for anything definitely coming from modifius.net, check with your local game store. I know 2 stores in the area, the Atomic Hobby Shop over in Cypress, Texas, and in Humble is Eden Games and Hobbies. Both of them are signed up with the Bits and Mortar program. And if they are, whenever you buy an RPG from them, if that company that's associated with this, and you can always ask, they're associated with Bits and Mortar, then, or the company's associated with Bits and Mortar and the store you're at has an account which is free, then they can also provide you, when you buy a physical copy, a digital copy download for free. So they get your email and the company sends you a link. And I'll tell you right now, you don't get any spam off of this. It's literally, they're not registering you. They're just saying, okay, I need the download link. Boom, go there. You get no junk mail, no nothing from it. You just get that. You don't get updates. It's just boom, there you go. Here's your digital thing. Leave us alone. I think it's really cool because basically you're getting 2 free books, and physical copies are way better than a digital copy. Digital copies are great just for traveling, in my personal opinion. All right, I think I've gone on long enough about Dune, and we might even have this show be done before 10:30. That's awesome. All right, so not a lot of other news coming out for Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, or Marvel Crisis Protocol. They're not getting any new miniatures until next year. Star Wars Armada and Legion, all their models are slated to be released, have been released, or in the next 2 to 3 months are going to be dropped. Now, I would not be suspecting too much coming out of Star Wars Armada, Legion, or X-Wing for probably about another couple months. I wouldn't expect any big news just yet, since they just changed hands in a sense. Asmodee, who owns both Fantasy Flight Games and is partnered with Atomic Mass Games that does Marvel Crisis Protocol. Basically, Fantasy Flight Games and Atomic Mass Games have combined they've exchanged staff members to head up running the Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars product line, I guess, for rules, not necessarily miniatures, but for handling the rules writing and all that jazz. And I imagine later on the miniatures and stuff will come later, but that's good because Atomic Mass Games has a solid foothold on making a balanced game system. So, and if you've played Star Wars Armada, I don't know too much about Legion, but Armada has been way overbalanced, just as Star Wars X-Wing is way overbalanced. So that's good news, but it also means we're going to be behind the power curve on getting any sort of rules updates or any new miniature updates anytime soon. That's what I suspect. So just be cognizant of that. If you're thinking it's a dead product line, it's not. This is very good news because it just injected a lot more excitement and a lot more creativity into three. Legion has gotten a lot more popular. 3 very popular games, and I'm very excited about that. I think that's good for the game systems, good for the community. For those people that don't want to be playing anything from Games Workshop, this opens up a lot of possibilities. That's really awesome. All right, guys. Tonight on Havoc Maker Studio, I know I have not been running the show too much because of a lot of power failures here at the house, internet going down repeatedly. We just had a whole bunch of storms over the weekend, so I wasn't able to do Friday's show. And plus, I've been working on that RPG and commissions to try to keep the light on. So I've been very, very bad about that, but we're back on schedule tonight. You can't see it, but we're going to be working on I don't even know what these guys are called. The Chaplain version for Chaos Space Marines. We're going to be doing it for the World Eaters. And that probably going to take up the entire show. If I have the opportunity, we will be messing around with some discs of Tzeentch as well. But right now, Dark Apostle, that's what he's called. So the Dark Apostle will be worked on tonight. And with that being said, I think that's going to be it for tonight, or this morning. Anyways, you guys have yourself a wonderful Monday morning. It is a wonderful morning because we're alive and well. We've got a whole week of amazing opportunities in front of us, so remember that. So, social distance, wear your mask, hand sanitizer, wash your hands, brush your teeth, wear deodorant. Please, please, please put aside your pride, put aside your beliefs, and you just go with what the medical recommendations are of social distancing and having a mask on and being safe during this pandemic. We've already seen what happens when you don't, when we think that we're smarter than the doctors, and it really sets things back. So please do this so we can get to the vaccine and we can get through this and move back on to a normal everyday life. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you. Well, I'll either see you tonight at Havoc Maker Studio at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, or I'll see you back here Wednesday morning, and we'll be talking about whatever crazy news comes up. All right? You guys have yourself a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later.